Do we need to get tougher when it comes to sanctions, Senator?
Oh, yes, indeed. We need to be tougher. With economic sanctions, there should be sanctions on Nord Stream 2. And you have to increase these sanctions. You have to make certain that our allies and our partners are not buying oil and fuel from Russia. That is going to be an imperative. And go back and put those sanctions on Nord Stream 2. What would send the fastest message? Putting sanctions back on Nord Stream and saying, we're not going to let you do this.
But some say that wasn't even a revenue source to begin with. The gas wasn't even currently flowing. Are you saying Nord Stream or Nord Stream 2? Because that was not money in Putin's pocket to begin with.
Well, Sandra, what it does is to provide certainty as to where we're going to be. And that is vitally important to do.
It provides certainty? What an idiot. That is Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn, Republican, trying to backpedal after being corrected on Fox News, which pointed out that no, the Nord Stream 2 pipeline has never existed. It has never carried any gasoline through it. Therefore, there shouldn't be any sanctions on it because there's nothing there to sanction. This is basic stuff.
The way that Putin is able to finance this war is because you've got France and Germany and other EU countries that are still buying oil and gas from Russia.
The pipeline was a project for many years. It cost $11 billion to build, but last fall, Germany refused to certify it. And then when Russia invaded Ukraine, Germany essentially killed the project. So again, it has never carried any fossil fuels from Russia to Germany. So when Marsha Blackburn talks about sanctions, she's not making any sense. And oh, by the way, the European Union has already cut back on its oil dependence on Russia by 2/3 this year alone. And the European Union has pledged to eliminate all fossil fuel imports from Russia by the end of the decade. Marsha Blackburn simply has no idea what she's talking about. And this is something basic. And when you're corrected by Fox News, that's really embarrassing.
Russia is a big oil depot, so they need to stop buying from them. We need to pick up our production here. We need to go back, return to being a net exporter of oil.
So here we have just the latest example proving that Marsha Blackburn is arguably the stupidest, most misinformed member of the U.S. Senate. And that's saying something. And it seems like Marsha Blackburn makes this point every time she opens her mouth. Last month at the Ketanji Brown Jackson Supreme Court hearings, it was Marsha Blackburn who insisted there's no white privilege in America. And even though 114 of the Supreme Court justices that have been put on the bench and only 2 are black, well, Blackburn insisted this is only because of chance. What? Marsha Blackburn famously voted against equal pay for women, saying that women don't want equal pay. She claimed that the Affordable Care Act passed by Barack Obama would lead to death panels and would violate HIPAA privacy. It doesn't violate HIPAA privacy. There have been no death panels. She claimed that Planned Parenthood was selling baby parts. She was full in on the Trump administration, defending Donald Trump when he made changes to the military without consulting the Pentagon. Blackburn voted against witnesses at one of Donald Trump's impeachment trials, saying we didn't need witnesses. And oh, by the way, at some of her town halls a few years ago when people started showing up and booing, Blackburn insisted, these are not people from my district, although it was pointed out to her that in order to get into the building, you had to show an ID proving that you were from Marsha Blackburn's district. Remarkable. Marsha Blackburn has been a U.S. Senator since 2019, 3 years. Before that, she served for several years as a member of the U.S. House, representing Tennessee. And the great irony is that Tennessee has actually produced some Senate giants through the years. Here are a couple of names. Howard Baker from the 1970s, a key figure in the Watergate hearings. A man by the name of Bill Frist, who was a Senate Majority Leader. Fred Thompson, who was a counsel in the Watergate hearings, then became a successful Hollywood actor, and then became a U.S. Senator and represented Tennessee with great esteem, according to Across the Aisle. Lamar Alexander was a governor of Tennessee, well regarded in Washington, despite his sharp conservatism. Even a guy by the name of Jim Sasser, who was, despite being a very staunch Republican, still managed to work across the aisle and was regarded as somebody who could get things done. And then there's Marsha Blackburn. It's sort of like that old childhood game that they played on Sesame Street. Which one of these is not like the other? Well, Marsha Blackburn is not like anybody else. She stands alone in her stupidity in the U.S. Senate. And in fact, about the only thing you can count on with Marsha Blackburn is that whenever she opens her mouth, she's going to lie, she's going to get things wrong, and then she's going to try to, well, it's no big deal that she got caught. Remarkable.